all of the things that I've said this year, do you trust it? And you might not. I totally understand that. I totally understand that. But just distinguish between not trusting it and just not wanting to believe it, or not wanting it to be true. These are very different things. Not that you have every advantage in the world, because this is what we'll do. We'll kick and scream and say, I don't have as many advantages as that person, but are you maximizing what you have with you right now? And if you aren't maximizing the advantages you have, then why on earth should you be given more? And if you can be trusted with a little, then you can be trusted with a lot. I promise you, if you can be trusted with a little, and if you maximize a little bit, more will be entrusted to you. You will get more opportunities. All of those things that you think you need, you will get them if you just maximize what you have right now. But you won't maximize what you have right now unless you believe it's possible. And if you've never had someone who you trust come along and tell you it's possible, you might not believe it. So if you don't trust me at all, I at least hope that you trust me with that one thing. I believe in you. You can do way more than you're achieving right now. Everybody who's in here right now, even those of you who are struggling with things you think I don't know about, every single one of you in here right now can achieve more than what you're presently doing. Some of you are already achieving a lot, but you can do way more. And I believe that. I just hope you believe it yourself too. And if you don't trust me, at least trust yourself. It is today. Anybody know what's special about today? It's the day that senior grades are due. And seniors find out if they're graduating or not. I've already had them come in before school started today. One guy came in, I don't know why I said I remember, because it was like an hour ago. It wasn't even like it was 2 weeks ago. One guy came in and said, hey, Scanlon. And he's very somber. He just goes, is there anything that can be done? What's your grade? 59.3. And I started laughing, because what's a passing grade? 60, yeah, he's 0.7% off. He's 0.7% off. And then I started laughing. I guess I was laughing so hard, he started laughing. Have you ever had that before, where the other person is laughing, so you kind of laugh just in response because you're uncomfortable? And I said, bro, think about that, man. Like any assignment that you could have done. Like I offered them, I did an extra credit assignment with them. I was going to do it with you guys. Maybe I still will. Yeah, I know I'm going to do it with you guys too. Why not? I like the assignment, actually. I'm kind of excited about it. I haven't read them yet, but they turned them in yesterday. The assignment, in short, is to create a playlist of songs that describe the past year of your life. So you're going to find a song that describes July through August of last year, September through October, and then November through December, January through February, March through April. So 6 songs. And it's not like 6 songs that you were listening to at the time, not like 6 songs that were popular, not 6 songs that you like, but if you're going to say, like, back then, from July through August, I was going through a lot of change in my life. I moved houses, I did this, whatever levels of change you went through. And then you would identify a song that talks about change. And then you'd explain how that song describes your life back then. And then you make the playlist on Spotify, you send it to me, and I'm listening to the playlist while I'm reading your essay. That's an extra credit essay that if he had done just that one essay, it wouldn't have just moved him from like an F into a D, it would have moved him into a high D. And at that point, the problem would have been like, man, is there a way I can get from the D plus to the C minus? Because I'm already so close to that. Like one little thing. I was saying to him, this is the first conversation we've had all year. So I think I've heard more words out of your mouth right now than I've heard the entire year. And it's probably true. I mean, everything so far has just been like hi, bye, or whatever. I go, if you had just raised your hand during one of the journal prompts and participated, that would have given you 15 points extra on that one assignment, and that right there would have pushed you into a passing grade of D minus, man. And he just goes, yeah, I just, like the whole year, I never thought it would come down to being that close. And I said, yeah, but that's life though, isn't it? I mean, you don't maybe know yet, but you will know. Maybe there are already some things in your life that you can relate that to, where it's like, I was so close to this. If I had only known, back then that this much extra would have pushed me over. I would have done this one thing differently. I don't know if you've ever found out later on that if you had just talked to a person at one point, that they would have been willing to help you out. If you had just talked to a person that maybe they would have had a crush on you too, or if you just talked to this one person, that argument and fight that led to something bigger would have been resolved. And you're like, if I had just known. But that's why it is that we say put everything into every day, because you can never know what's going to matter. You never can tell what's going to matter. I had a student, I think it was my second year when I was here. So long story short, but he was charged with attempted murder. He ended up skating on it. He didn't get convicted of it. They ended up not even pressing charges on it because somebody who was in their group had rolled over and said it was all me and took the whole thing. I got along with him really well for some reason. I guess that's the moral of the story. I get along really well with murderers and attempted murderers. And he got to his senior year and was a completely different guy. And this was a dude who was applying to universities. This guy really wanted to go to college because that one experience changed a bunch of things in his life. And as he was applying to universities, he kept looking at it because I think it was in a math class or something like that. Because he'd actually gone back during summer schools and intersessions to redo a bunch of his classes, even the ones he got C's in, because he wanted to raise his grades. So this guy was spending basically double duty, doing all of his classes here and making up his other ones or improving his grades in his other ones. But he just didn't have enough time. And there was a C in a math class that he was just freaking out about. He was just that's gonna keep me out of a lot of universities because I have a C. They won't take me if I have that one C on my transcript. And I just said, funny, right? You never can tell what's gonna matter. Because even that one C, think about it, how much extra work would it have taken to have gone from a C to a B? And back then, 2 years earlier, what was it? An extra homework assignment, 2 homework assignments, studying for a quiz rather than playing video games or something? You never can tell. And it's a trip sometimes how it's just the little tiny things. I'm even thinking my dad, I mentioned before he had diabetes. He had type 2 diabetes, which is the kind that you get, not the kind you're born with, but it's the kind that you get from poor diet, poor exercise, and all that. And some of you probably know people who have this. Here's the trip. They were fine. They were okay. They were getting close to diabetes, man. And then one day, they had a slice of cake or something. That's the thing that pushed them over. And of course, after that, it snowballs into what they have today. But if that one morning they woke up and just said, you know what? I need to straighten myself out, man. They're looking at themselves in the mirror. They're not feeling so good. I need to get to exercising, man. And they never had that one piece of cake and they turned away from it and they sorted themselves out, their life would be completely different. Now here they are in their late 50s going blind or something, If they had just not had that one last... Now, of course, there's a lot of things that lead up to that. If a student, think about, as I mentioned to him, think about what we're haggling over. A passing grade versus a failing grade. Not like an A versus a B, but just a passing grade versus a failing grade. It's just one little thing like that. We shouldn't be haggling over the at leasts in life. We should be haggling over the things that could have made me exceptional, but we also realize this is how a lot of people are. And that's what sucks for those of you who are actually achievers, who actually will do some things in life, is you're dragging everybody else behind you who's saying things like good enough or at least I. And if you begin a sentence with that sentence and with those words, well, at least I, is that what you're after, man? The least of? Is that what your families have sacrificed for? So that you could be the least, at least I? Is that what your moms and dads struggle so much for? So that you can say, well, at least I, so that you can show up in my classroom as an 18-year-old man, let's call it what it is, and he didn't beg. I'll give him this, but there are other ones who have, and beg for 0.7%, and degrade yourself for 0.7%, rather than just sorting yourself out, making yourself stronger, and achieving way beyond that. Is that what our families have sacrificed for? For us to be the least of? I don't know about you guys, man, but I think back to the stuff that my parents went through, and they sacrificed way too much for me to not, for me to just be mediocre. And I remember I was working on my first master's degree. I wrote my whole thesis in one weekend. Normally that's like a few months process. I wrote the whole thing in one weekend. I didn't sleep or eat for a few days. And when I would get hungry, I'd be thinking like, did your mom really sacrifice as much as she did for you to not be exceptional? It wasn't enough for me just to do the master's. It was like, no, I need to finish this master's, and I have to have it with honors. Because, I mean, my goodness, I have the benefits of the hard work that they laid out before me. When I was working on my PhD, there was a point in which I changed what I wanted to do in my life, and I was almost finished with the PhD. And I could have bailed on it and just said, you know what, I'm not going to finish it. Well, why did I finish it? Because I thought back to all of the shifts at MacDonald's that my dad finished so that I could have the things I have today. So there was no, in my mind, there was no at least I, or begging for the lowest scraps of things, or whatever in life to try to get by, because I would see that. As I mentioned before, and I'm saying this to you guys as somebody who graduated from high school, as I've mentioned before, with a 1.8 GPA. Why? Because I wanted to play baseball. I like music. Could I have done well in high school? Of course. And that's one of those disappointing things of my life. I go, I could have done so much more in high school. But then I think about it and go, you know what? I'm kind of glad, because here I am in front of you right now with 2 bachelors, 2 masters, and a PhD, telling you I graduated from high school with a 1.8, which is not a way of saying, I graduated with a 1.8. No, it's a way of saying I got it together afterwards. You can. It's possible. If you're that person sitting there right now with a low GPA, having failed a bunch of classes, whatever, and think like, school is just not for me. Is learning for you? Is education for you? Being smart good for you? Is no world around you for you? And some of you will just go, no, it's not for me. No, man, I would suggest there's a sense there. I've never met a person with that view who actually loved themselves and cared about themselves. That's usually an expression of some kind of a deep animosity for themselves, or a lack of love for themselves anyway. Because we don't think that we're good enough. We don't think that we can do it. I'm not saying you have to go to college. In fact, candidly, I don't think most people should go to college. Overwhelming majority of people should not go to college. Not because you're not smart enough, not because you're stupid, but because most of the careers in life that you want to get don't have anything to do with college whatsoever. How many people, isn't that the meme? People who work at Starbucks as baristas and have university degrees? There's a lot of people who shouldn't go to, and there are people I know who are really, I'm thinking of one person right now who is working on a PhD and not a smart guy. Really not a smart guy. He's been at it for a very long time. He's about to get kicked out because he hasn't finished yet. That's how long it's taking him. But he's at a subpar school, he's in a subpar program, and they're just taking his money. That's what it amounts to. Then afterwards he'll be able to say, but I'm a doctor. It's like, yeah, but not you're a doctor with $200,000 in student loan debt. I don't want to call you doctor, I call you slave, because you're going to be having to work that money off the rest of your life, doing jobs you don't want to do, working career paths you don't want to work, because you've buried yourself under a mountain of debt that is almost the cost of a house in most US states. So no, I don't think most people should go to college. You should go to college if what you want to do requires college. You want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a professional, one of those kinds of professionals. Yeah, probably go to college, because you need the degree in order to get into the field. You want to go into the medical field? Yes, please go to college, or go to school of some kind. I'm going to freak out if any of you guys fail this class and I go to the doctor's office in a few years and you're sitting there and you're like, I'm in charge of your health. That will scare me. So go to school if you're going to do medical field of some kind. But figure out what you want to do, and then choose the course accordingly. Don't choose the path and then pick what you have to pick because you've taken that path. Pick what you want to pick and then choose the path, if that makes sense. You know? So, to be trusted? I don't know. I'm just thinking about that, where what you were saying earlier about about trusting a teacher, because I can stand in front of you and I can tell you all of this. And all of this is going to make all of the sense in the world. And I've challenged you all year, point out where the lie is. Tell me where any of this stuff is just not true. You can say that you disagree with it, that's fine. And I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I've been wrong before. It was November of 2017, I think it was. I was wrong about something. So I'm not wrong, I'm not 100% right about everything. But if there's something wrong with what I'm saying and you see it, that's okay. But what am I saying that's incorrect? Have your families not struggled? Do you really want to settle yourself for mediocrity? Do you not believe in yourself that you could be exceptional? And you can be exceptional in any field. You can be exceptional in construction. You can be exceptional in philosophy. You can be exceptional in medicine. You can be exceptional in business, whatever path you choose. But I can say all of that, but if you don't trust me to some degree, it won't sink in. It won't go anywhere. It'll just be words. It'll just be looking at the clock. Is he still talking? Yes. But I'm almost done. Today, that got your attention. Today, and then one more on Friday, I think, and then I'll be done talking to you. And that'll be it. But of all of the things that I've said this year, do you trust it? And you might not. I totally understand that. But just distinguish between not trusting it and just not wanting to believe it, or not wanting it to be true. These are very different things, man. Whether you love me or whether you hate me, is what I'm saying true? Is it true that you're capable of more than you're allowing yourself to achieve right now? Is it true that you have the advantages of some sacrifices that were made to put you in the position that you're in right now? Not that you have every advantage in the world, because this is what we'll do. We'll kick and scream and say, I don't have as many advantages as that person, but are you maximizing what you have with you right now? And if you aren't maximizing the advantages you have, then why on earth should you be given more? And if you can be trusted with a little, then you can be trusted with a lot. I promise you, if you can be trusted with a little, and if you maximize a little bit, more will be entrusted to you. You will get more opportunities. All of those things that you think you need, you will get them if you just maximize what you have right now. But you won't maximize what you have right now unless you believe it's possible. And if you've never had someone who you trust come along and tell you it's possible, you might not believe it. And so if you don't trust me at all, I at least hope that you trust me with that one thing. I believe in you. You can do way more than you're achieving right now. And you might be sitting there going like, oh no, you don't know me. I know way more about each and every single one of you than you realize. Just because I don't stand above you, just because I don't call out your name, doesn't mean I don't know things about you. Everybody who's in here right now, even those of you who are struggling with things you think I don't know about, every single one of you in here right now can achieve more than what you're presently doing. Some of you are already achieving a lot, but you can do way more. And I believe that. I just hope you believe it yourself too. And if you don't trust me, at least trust yourself. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Wednesday-ish.